Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be discussing new makeup releases because the obsession is real, but also so is the debt. So sometimes we just need to sit down, take a look at everything that's coming out and just hash it out. Am I right? Good. Before we dive in, please excuse my somewhat unkempt appearance. I got a haircut yesterday and I am just not ready to accept that reality as of right now. It is so short. And I really have no one to blame but myself because I asked her to take a lot off because my hair was just, it was getting unruly. It was way too long, but it's so short now and I just... So anyways, she's staying up for the time being. Let's go ahead and get started though. First thing I want to talk about is the new Morphe Nikita Dragun collaboration that's coming out. So number one, the palette kind of looks like any other Morphe palette you could buy, right? She's, I guess, borrowing from Huda a little bit with that one little swirly shade, but otherwise, I mean, there's some fun colors in it. But again, nothing we haven't seen before. It's not all that interesting. What is interesting about this particular collab is that Nikita Dragun has her own makeup brand. So I don't totally understand that when an influencer or anybody has their own makeup brand, but then they go and collaborate with another brand. I don't know that I've seen anybody really do that with anybody other than Morphe, and I don't totally understand that. So anyways, I just saw this and I gave like a big eye roll of like, okay, I mean, who is gonna buy this unless you're like a Nikita Dragun stan? It's just so pointless to me. I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm not gonna get it. Speaking of influencers and their own makeup brands, did y'all see that James Charles is coming out with his own makeup brand? I hate to be a negative Nancy, but I really just am kind of, I don't know, it's becoming overwhelming, all of these new makeup brands. And not only that, but it's like all these influencers and their own makeup brands. I mean, I feel like you have to have a pretty big ego. So I mean, you have to have a big ego to just like be James Charles or be one of those massive influencers with millions of followers, right? But I just feel like it takes a really big ego to say, I have something no one has ever seen that I can bring to the market. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Plus, when James Charles collabed with Morphe, that's what he always had said about the palette that he made was like, you don't need anything else. Like, this palette has everything, right? It was like your complete artistry palette. You weren't supposed to need another one. Does that make sense? So now he's like, oh, but wait, here's some more makeup. I guess part of me is feeling very cynical about influencers these days because it's just a lot of cash grabbing, I feel like. And especially after the whole Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star business came to light, and we kind of got to see who they both really are. I'm just so cynical towards big influencers like that now because like they don't really care about their consumers. They just kind of care about putting their stuff out there and having people buy it. You know what I mean? And I don't like it. I don't like it. It's kind of a turnoff, you know? I will be interested to see what the products are that James Charles comes out with. Maybe I'm being overly critical, overly cynical about it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just kind of over it. I'm turned off. I don't want it. Also, speaking of influencers and their collabs, an influencer that I do like more than the other two that we just talked about, RawBeautyKristi, only a few months after her collaboration with Pure, is now doing another collaboration with Colourpop. Now, I'll be honest, when I saw her put this out, I was kind of like, again, another one, you know? Like, she just did that Pure one. It seemed like a really quick turnaround to me. The collection looks really pretty. Not really my type of color story because it does look kind of warm. Some of those colors look really nice, like the deep teal and maroon shades look really pretty. Definitely not anything that I need, definitely not anything that I want. I guess the part of me that is a fan of RawBeautyKristi wants to like be involved if that's the right word, with these collabs that she's doing. Like, if RawBeautyKristi's name was not on this collab, I would just kind of like brush it away and be like, oh, just another Colourpop launch, you know what I mean? But because RawBeautyKristi's name is on it, I feel like I have to give it more consideration because I am a fan of hers. And the fact that I'm like having to weigh whether or not I want it when I know deep down I don't want this. I think that's what's frustrating me a little bit. Does that make any sense at all? I don't know. I'm happy for her, and she's about to have a little baby, so she's probably trying to pad her pockets before the baby comes. So I don't blame her for that. So not only those things that I just said a moment ago, I'm so over Colourpop right now. I purchased that little Baby Yoda palette when it launched, which was like a couple weeks ago, and they still, as of like 2 days ago, hadn't shipped it. So like several weeks had gone by since I ordered it and they still didn't ship it. I just went ahead and asked them to cancel it because it hadn't even shipped yet. So anyways, just another influencer collab that I'm not interested in. I'm more frustrated with this one because I want to be interested in it because I am a fan of RawBeautyKristi, but no child, we're not doing that. Okay, let's talk briefly about this Beetlejuice collection, you guys. Beetlejuice is easily my favorite like Halloween time, fall, spooky season time movie. Easily my favorite. I have always loved Beetlejuice. It's a movie that came out in the 80s, I believe. So I mean, I grew up watching it in the fall, right? It always came on TV. It's such a strange movie, but it's also it's funny and it's endearing, but also like kind of disturbing. I don't know. It's just like that perfect balance of likability and like weird, you know what I mean? It's a great movie. I love the aesthetic of the film. I love the characters in the film. And this collection looks beautiful. It looks like they really did a good job of capturing the aesthetic of Beetlejuice. But here's the thing. I don't have anything from Milk Cosmetics. I've never tried anything from Milk Cosmetics before. I am familiar with Milk Cosmetics' pricing though. If you look at the past palettes that they've released, their 8-pan palettes tend to go for $48 and their 10-pan palettes tend to go for $58, okay? This collection is comprised of one 8-pan and one 10-pan palette. So if I wanted to get in on this collection, that's like over $100 for 2 eyeshadow palettes, which is just like maddening. It is so frustrating to me that something like Beetlejuice would be incorporated into a line from a super expensive makeup brand that I don't even know if I like. You know what I mean? I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. I would be really interested to get more into like how eyeshadows are formulated and products are made and that type of thing, because I really want to know where Milk Cosmetics gets off charging the prices that they charge for these palettes. Like, I know that the Huda palette was $67, but that's an 18-pan palette for $67. This one is a 10-pan palette that will be $58. That proportion is off. You know what I mean? It's just so overpriced, so unnecessary, so late in the season, and I don't even know if I like Milk Cosmetics. I know that some people love Milk Cosmetics and have raved about Milk Cosmetics, but I also know that some people don't really like Milk Cosmetics' formula. I've heard people say that before. So anyways, I'm probably gonna buy it, so be looking for that video coming soon. Let's also talk about Morphe once again coming up. I don't know, I was kind of excited when I saw this, but also I don't really need a new rainbow palette. But Morphe is doing a Lisa Frank line. Lisa Frank, that's very like second grader realness for me. I had the Lisa Frank folders and the markers and everything. I was all about Lisa Frank. So really exciting. And you know, Morphe's like an affordable enough brand that I'm not mad about Morphe doing a Lisa Frank line. And Morphe has really been pandering to a younger audience lately, so it kind of makes sense that they would go with this Lisa Frank thing. However, so they just put out that Nikita Dragon palette, first of all. Not that different from this Lisa Frank palette. And I know that Lisa Frank is like, you know, rainbow, like it's all about colors and loud and all of that. But this palette just does not look interesting to me. It just looks like a rainbow palette. Because it's a rainbow palette, of course there's some fun shades in there, but also I found that with these like special lines, like Morphe makes some of my absolute favorite brushes, like the Morphe Jaclyn Hill brushes. Like, say what you want about Morphe, say what you want about Jaclyn Hill. These brushes are everything. I love my Morphe Jaclyn Hill brushes, but I have found that with like these special lines, like Morphe is not consistent with their brush quality across the lines, you know? So like if these Lisa Frank brushes I knew would be the same quality as the Jaclyn Hill brushes, then I would probably get that so that I could, like, you know, get in on a little bit of the Lisa Frank fantasy realness. But I know that those brushes are gonna be trash because they just, for whatever reason, are like not consistent with their brush quality. Which makes no sense to me. How are you supposed to know what you want to buy from Morphe? Not gonna buy it, but I am a fan of Lisa Frank, so good on them for actually collabing with someone that has something to offer. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this one, but once again, it looks like ABH has repackaged their Soft Glam palette and turned it into this little, like, why are they harping on the Soft Glam so hard? That wasn't even like their most popular palette. Like, I feel like Modern Renaissance was more popular than Soft Glam. Why aren't they bringing back the Modern Renaissance? Because this is the second time they've hit us with another Soft Glam repackaging release. You know what I mean? You need a new act, ABH. Come on, step it up. I'm not gonna spend much time on this one either. I love Wayne Goss. I love his YouTube channel. When I saw him put out those like face, like the blush duos or whatever, I was kind of like, okay, cool. I bet that that's a nice product. But then when I saw this 6-pan eyeshadow palette, I was just like, what? It looks like there's two gray matte shades, a black matte, and then 3 shimmers that feel a little random to me. I don't understand where he was going with this color story. I wonder if he has a video up on his channel or something, because I saw this and I was just like, hey. Some people like cool tones. I love my cool tones personally, but I feel like warm tones are more popular just kind of like in general on the market. So I just thought it was really interesting that he went with this like really smoky cool tone 6-pan palette. So I would love to support Wayne Goss and his brand, but I just need him to put something out that like appeals to me, I guess, because I didn't like this. What did you guys think? I didn't like it. Did y'all see this new 9-pan palette from Beauty Bakery? So Beauty Bakery, woman-owned brand, black-owned brand, fabulous brand to support. I don't have much from Beauty Bakery. I think I've got like a couple lip products and some setting powder from Beauty Bakery. They're a little bit pricier, so I haven't had much opportunity to really buy much from them. And also the eyeshadow palettes that they've put out up until now have been pretty warm, and I'm just not personally a big fan of warm color stories. This palette looks so nifty to me. It's this like blend of like warm and cool tones where you've got like the orange and the blues. And I think it just like, for a 9-pan palette, the color story really works for me. I'm here for it. I'm not crazy about that one on the bottom row in the middle that looks like kind of a super pale pink matte. I just realized that I have been doing this whole video centered on my screen, so I'm gonna have to cover up my face for a lot of this. Anyways, it's pretty. I like it. It's $28, which is kind of expensive. Like, that's Huda prices, you know? So I probably won't get it. I definitely don't need it, but I really thought that this palette was beautiful. And then finally, let's talk about this new Jeffree Star Cosmetics launch. Regardless of what you feel about Jeffree Star as a person, okay? I know that there's been a lot of controversy surrounding him lately. A lot of people have decided to pull their support for Jeffree Star. The things that I want to say about this collection are only about the actual collection. Doesn't really have anything to do with Jeffree Star as a person. I'm really only commenting on the products and his brand just as a whole, okay? My question is just, at what point does it get kind of stale? You know what I mean? So he had the Blood Sugar, he had the Blue Blood, he had the Bloodlust, and now we have Blood Money, another sort of monochromatic color story. Well, I don't know, I'm kind of bored by it. Like, the last two launches that he had were total flops for me, the Cremated and the Orgy palette. This one, I like the color story, don't get me wrong. I think that the colors that he chose are pretty. I love the packaging of the component. This one is probably my favorite packaging that I have seen from any of his products. I love the like gator skin, the seafoam green with the gold accents. Like, oof, I thought that this was really, really pretty. But I just am not as enthused about this one. And maybe it is because my personal feelings about Jeffree Star have changed. I'm not as supportive of him as I once was. But then also I have this sitting right here. This is from Hard Candy. I got this at Walmart. It was like $10. So you do the math. You be the judge. I don't know. Whatever. I don't need it. I don't want it. For $52, I certainly don't think that it's worth that price. I thought the packaging was beautiful. And then, oh my gosh, I have one of those Extreme Frost highlighters. It still is like mind-boggling to me that they're $50 each. $50 each. So anyways, where are we at with Jeffree Star, you guys? How are y'all feeling about Jeffree Star? I'm personally, you know, I don't hate him. I'm not compelled to buy from his brand anymore. And not only that, I haven't liked anything that he's put out lately. It's all been kind of just... I feel like at some point he's gonna need to retire the whole blood thing and do something a little bit more... do something different. Like that Jawbreaker collection, that Jawbreaker palette is stunning. And that was like a really cool, fun, different type of palette for him and his brand. Anyways, what do we think about the new Blood Money palette? Love it, hate it, indifferent, don't care. Let me know. I certainly don't need a green glittery lip gloss or another $50 highlighter, that's for sure. But I do think the palette's kind of nifty. The palette is not the worst ever. Sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. I am here for you. So if there's anything that I mentioned today that you're like, I need to see a review of that, let me know. If there's anything I didn't mention today that you're like, I need to see a review of that, definitely let me know that as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope that I will see you in my next video. Okay, so I'll see you then. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already. Okay, bye. Bye-bye.